A Rotorua exterminator is battling through the biggest job of his career as he destroys a giant German wasp nest, estimated to hold up to, wait for it, 1 million wasps. The nest was discovered on Monday attached to a panga tree in an area of native bush at Rotorua. Our Waikato Bay of Plenty reporter Andrew McRae bravely went to have a look.
To get to the nest, we had to cross private land before entering the bush. I went with Chris Brunel from Bay Pest Services, which has the mammoth job of destroying it.
I'm amazed that it's taken this long to see it because, mind you, you'd have to be looking up and you'd have to be paying attention. And they spotted it and reported it to the guy who's in charge of the voluntary group that does all this restoration projects around these areas.
The nest is about 3 metres up in a panga tree, which is perched on the side of a steep bank. At 2 metres tall, with a circumference of about 2 metres, it's estimated to weigh between 100 and 150 kilos.
Inside, there's a whole lot of these things, hundreds of them, all stacked on top of each other.
Like a sort of a cone.
They're like a cone. They look like a honeycomb, but they're full of wasps, larvae, and once they're ready to hatch, they plug them with that wax. But some of those will hatch, but they don't survive.
But to get to that size,
yes,
in this panga tree,
yes,
which is quite tall in itself,
yep,
how long would that have taken to build?
I'd say that would take, normally wasp nests don't winter over. I'd say the queens never left that nest, or it could be a number of queens. I could say that's 2 to 3 years to get it at that size. I've hacked a bit of the front off. It was sticking out as far as that bit of broken flax.
So another half a metre?
Another half a metre. So we've, as you can see, we've been at it now for some time. But it's in terms of wasp nests, it's pretty big. It's the biggest I've seen in 30 years.
Mr. Brunel says a nest that big takes on a life of its own.
They almost become an independent city, and it gets very warm in there, so they can maintain against cold temperatures. So they can get up to a million wasps. And the temperature in there can get up to the high, 80s, 90s in amongst the nest itself because it's quite deep.
While the German wasps tend to like living in big nests, this one at Rotorua is near record size.
They seem to like panga trees because they can build around them quite easily and hollow out the actual timber to get a grip of the nest, get a grip in the initial stages so it doesn't fall apart. It's very well sheltered.
Mr. Brunel says it's one of the hardest jobs his company has faced due to the size of the nest and its location.
We've had to initially dust it with an insecticide and try and kill as many as we can. And then the second time round, we tried to get into the entry points where they're getting into the nest. The third time, we cut a section off and dusted that. So really, we're up to our fourth time now. And because the weather's going to get wet, we think we'll probably finish it off on Monday, and then we will slice bits off it and dust it again, and then we'll smash it up once we're satisfied it's dead.
Because there are still some wasps there, we saw them before.
There's still some wasps in there. It's hard to gauge how many. You usually only find out when you put the saw through it.
What was it like on the first time you saw it in terms of the wasp activity?
It was very active. I mean, there were hundreds flying in and out regularly, and if you walk past and they saw you, obviously they would target you because they felt you're a threat. Now the threat factor's gone away and we can get a lot closer, as you've discovered, but you couldn't have got that close on Monday.
Mr. Brunel says the wasps still inside the nest will try and protect it right up until the end, as they're very aggressive. In the Rotorua for Checkpoint, ko Andrew McRae, 10A.